Hey friends! I just wrapped up the last episode because as usual lately I forgot to do an outro, so I'll post that up here. Today is Monday. Last night was my tia's viewing. This morning we're gonna do a misa for her, which is basically a church service that's part general church service, part specifically for her and her passing. And then we're going to go to the cemetery for the actual burial. And after that, my uncle is hosting like a small intimate family get together as opposed to the 200 plus people that were there last night for the viewing. But for us, that just means that instead of 200 people in one space, it's going to be closer to like 60 or 70, which is still a lot. My mother and I were literally the only people masked last night in the entire place. I'm hoping to be able to be a little more loose today, but I genuinely don't know if I'll feel comfortable at any point with that. Perhaps at the cemetery and perhaps at my uncle's house, because for the most part, weather permitting, everything, well, obviously weather permitting or not, the funeral will be outdoors, but the after party, I guess, for lack of a better word, that sounds awful, but I really don't know what else to call it, is probably going to be mostly outdoors as well. So we'll see how the vibe is, how I'm feeling about all that. But that's all happening today. Something else that's happening today is that I'm starting my preparation for my procedure tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm having, I literally don't even know how to pronounce it. It's a very, very long word. So it's called a hysterosalpingography. HSG. It's a x-ray of the uterus and fallopian tubes, but they're going to use contrast, which I'm allergic to, so I have to be on a whole like steroid and Benadryl thing before they do the test so that my body doesn't react to the contrast, to the iodine and the contrast. Because it's an invasive procedure, there's also a risk of infection, so I have to start taking antibiotics. I already took my first one this morning, and I have like a detailed list of all the medications that I need to be taking for the next 3 days, because I need to take stuff before, the day of, and the day after in order to make sure that like I'm gonna be fine. Not to mention the actual procedure itself, which I'm really nervous about. But that's all the situation for tomorrow. This week is a doozy. This week's gonna be a lot. But what else is new, right? So thank you guys for being here, I guess. And I honestly don't know what all I'm going to show you from today, because the nature of everything, I don't know, I just feel like for the most part I want to keep things kind of private and like to ourselves. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, happy Monday. Hey pals, it is Tuesday night even, because it's past 7:30, and I'm only just now getting around to vlogging today because the last 48 hours have been a doozy. So I honestly don't even remember if I vlogged yesterday at all. I'm pretty sure I did, because I'm positive. I'm like totally out of focus here. There we go. I'm positive that I opened the vlog. But yesterday was my tia's misa, which is a church service that they do in her honor, and then the actual burial. And it was beautiful. There was obviously a lot of sadness, but mostly there was a lot of laughter and celebration, and it was just what I think she would have wanted. Like, it was basically a huge party is maybe too strong a word, because when I think party, I think like dancing and stuff, and there was definitely not dancing. But I think it's just what she would have wanted, just what she would have enjoyed. And my sister and I were fascinated at how, like, they're from El Salvador. My tia's family is from El Salvador, she's from El Salvador. And even though we're all Hispanic, we're all Latinos, it's really fascinating just how different all of our cultures are. Like, there's some things that are very, very similar, and there's some things that are just wildly different. And it's really interesting and cool and just strange, but like fascinating, just how differently they do some things. Like, for example, they hired a mariachi band to be at the burial, and I've never seen that before, and it was really nice. Like, it really changed the vibe. And I don't know, like I said, it was obviously a very sad situation, but I feel like there were little bits throughout the day, just scattered throughout, that really uplifted the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere. And it was really, really nice. And I also learned yesterday, because this isn't something that Cubans do, but apparently it's something that's very heavily entrenched in Salvi culture, is they do obviously a very big celebration, I guess, because again, party doesn't seem like the correct word, but they do a very big celebration of life when the person passes away. But then every year on the anniversary of their death, there's a 9-day festival celebrating that person. And they do it for 9 straight years. And on the 9th year, which is the final year that they do it for that particular person, they go all out. And it is a celebration that is as big, if not bigger, than the original funeral. I'm not sure what the significance of the number 9 is in the culture, but I just think it's so cool that they have so many rituals and so many things around the celebrating of life and around the legacy, I guess, of a loved one that's passed. I think that's amazing. So overall, I think it was a really nice day. All things considered, it was really, really nice. We were only at the cemetery for like 15-20 minutes, and it's not so bad now because I immediately put aloe on as soon as I got home, but I managed to get a sunburn in the 15-20 minutes. My nose and my forehead especially are also really bad because I was wearing a mask. So, well, no, mentira. When I was at the cemetery, I didn't have my mask on because we were outside and it was way too hot. Like, I couldn't handle it, so I just tried to stay away from the crowd. But yeah, in the 15 minutes we were out there, I got really burned. If there's one thing I'm super good at, it's absorbing sun. It's one of my many skills. But yeah, that was yesterday. Today, I had my HSG, which I'm still not quite sure how to pronounce. Let me see. A hysterosalpingography, which is an x-ray procedure that is used to view the inside of the uterus and fallopian tubes. I explained all of this in the last, I explained it to the degree that I could, having not experienced it myself yet, in the last episode, which if I haven't posted it up here, I'll post it now. If not, then it's somewhere in the video. But I'm gonna go ahead, I never do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and timestamp in the description box. Starting now, I'm gonna start describing the procedure, how it went for me this morning. And it's a lot, so if you want to skip the body stuff, check in the description box and just click the next timestamp where it just says vlog at the bottom, and it'll take you to me no longer talking about this. But we arrived very, very early. I spent all day yesterday taking antibiotics. I had to start a course of steroids last night. This is not typical. This is just because me personally, I'm allergic to the iodine in the contrast, and the contrast needs to happen. There's no way around it. So I had to basically pre-treat myself for any allergic reaction I might experience. So prednisone last night, I had to take more this morning, and Benadryl, and another antibiotic. And the antibiotics I'm going to be taking for 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, just in case there's potential for infection. Well, there is a potential for infection, so it's just in case, so I don't get an infection. But took all that this morning. I also took an Advil because they told me that it was safe to do so, and because it was going to hurt, so I should take some pain medication before I arrived. So I did all that. We arrived on time. They immediately took me into an x-ray room, and I expected that my husband would be able to be there with me the whole time, except for obviously during the moment of the x-ray because radiation, but they didn't let him into the room at all, which is already really scary for me because I was very, very nervous. So they take me in, and I have to do the whole like hospital gown thing. They explained to me that first thing they're gonna do is use a speculum, which is the thing they use whenever a person with a vagina goes to get like a pap smear, for example. It goes in, clicks open, so that they can get in there and swab around and stuff. So we're gonna use that so that we can go into your vagina all the way up to where your cervix is, the cervix being the hole basically that actually leads into your uterus that's usually shut. We're going to force it open so we could put a balloon in there. The balloon's gonna open, and that forcing the cervix open is how we're gonna get the iodine into your uterus, into your fallopian tubes. It's going to hurt because it hurts everybody, but the only reason it would be excruciating is if you have something blocked, like if one of your fallopian tubes is blocked, which that's the point of the test, is to find out is anything blocked. So she tells me all that, and she also warns me that, you know how when you look at a book and there's like a side view of like a vagina, and it's always vagina, cervix, uterus. Here's an ovary, and everything is perfectly symmetrical. A book is the only place you're gonna see that. Everybody has an ovary over here and an ovary over here. Everybody has their uterus doing this, that, like your vagina is not a straight line. Sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's further back. Like nobody has a perfectly symmetrical, perfectly straight system. That just doesn't exist. So for some people it's a little harder to find the cervix because it's not just a straight line. We have to actually look. So in that case, it's also going to be more painful. But we'll go with the flow, right? We'll see what happens. So they bring in the doctors, and because there was 2 doctors, I'm assuming one of them was a student. I actually asked, which one of you is the doctor? And they were like, both of us. But then eventually, like almost immediately, the guy left. So I'm guessing that he was just like nervous, and he was like, okay, I can't do this, because he was the student. And the female doctor stayed. They tried for 20 minutes. 20 minutes, okay? So if you've ever had a pap smear, you know how extremely uncomfortable it is when they open the thing and they just put a little like cotton swab in there, right? Imagine them using the thing and then those sharp bits at the end poking and digging around because they need to clamp onto your cervix for 20 minutes. So that was painful. Like tears in my eyes, painful. And after 20 minutes, they say, we can't find your cervix. It's too high. It's completely natural and normal on this stage of my cycle for your cervix to be high. It's what it's supposed to be. But again, everybody's anatomy is different. Everybody's a variation of normal. My cervix happens to be higher than the average person. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing weird about that. It's just a variation of normal, but they weren't prepared for that. They are radiologists. They're not gynecologists. So they say, okay, we're not able to do it here. We're going to take you up to gynecology, have them do this part, and then we're going to bring you back down and do the x-ray here. You know, it is what it is. So now I'm freaking out because the lady warned me that this could be a complication and it could happen. But I mean, what are the chances, right? Turns out higher than I thought, but I didn't know that. So they take me upstairs. My husband's able to come with me. They make us wait 45 minutes. And it was only 45 minutes because I started marching up and down the hallway in my hospital gown and slippy socks. causing a scene basically, because what the hell, I'm on Benadryl. Like, I can't be eating here because the Benadryl's gonna wear out and you guys are gonna give me this stuff and I'm gonna have a reaction. So finally, after 45 minutes, they put me in an exam room, 2 nurses and a doctor. They tip the table all the way like this so that my legs are basically up in the air. I've never experienced that before in my life. And they start working. And it takes them another 15 minutes. I was crying, like full-blown crying. I was screaming. I was hyperventilating. There was a chorus of, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry from the doctor and the nurses, because it was hurting so much. I honestly, like, I think I just blacked out and like dissociated because I couldn't begin to describe to you right now what it was I was actually feeling, but I was screaming because I was hurting so bad. To the point that one of the nurses, the only one that wasn't apologizing to me, told me I should try to keep it down because I'm gonna scare the pregnant women outside. If I were in any state of mind where I was like in control of myself, I might have told her to f herself. But I was so like completely consumed with what was going on in and around my body at that moment that I couldn't react to that. The doctor kept asking me if I wanted him to stop. And I just kept telling him, no, 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 please don't. Because the last thing I wanted was for them to give up and then to say, you're gonna have to come back and do this all over again. It's like, as much as it sucked, as much pain as I was in, I couldn't let it be all for nothing. So I was like, just please, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. All the while screaming and like crying and just completely beside myself. They eventually got it. It hurt like hell the whole time. It hurt like hell during, it hurt like hell after. They take me back downstairs to x-ray, and the contrast itself hurt going in, but nowhere near what I expected it to hurt. I guess at that point I was already like numbed from everything I'd already experienced. They did the x-ray, boom, 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 super fast. They took the catheter out, which did not hurt at all. I started laughing even because I was like, that's crazy how much it hurt going in for it to just be like, and it's gone afterwards, because I thought it was gonna hurt just as much when they were pulling it out. Barely even felt it. And because I couldn't let this all be for nothing, I had to ask when we were leaving. I know you're not supposed to tell me, but did you see anything where I should like be concerned or something? And the doctor tells me, I'm not supposed to tell you anything, but I feel bad that you went through all this only to let you leave without any answers. So I'm gonna tell you, everything was perfect, everything was beautiful. And that's great news, but on the other hand, extremely frustrating because we've already done so many tests and I am constantly testing daily, weekly, monthly for the past year, and every single test we've done has been perfect. So obviously that's good to know, but it's also really frustrating because this unexplained infertility continues to be unexplained. And up until this point, if there was a problem with sperm quality, if there was a problem with I'm not ovulating, or I don't have enough eggs, or there is a blockage in my fallopian tube, or whatever, it would have been something very easily remedied, or at least like there would have been an obvious course of action with medication, with hormones, with lifestyle changes, whatever. But every single thing so far has been perfect. So we have no idea what's next. So I'm gonna call in the morning and try to make an appointment with the doctor so that he can tell me himself, like, this is everything that we've done so far. This is what it all means. And so now this is your next step. But I've had some pretty painful cramping throughout the day. Nothing excruciating, nothing that I can't get through. I haven't even had to take another Advil, but it's been uncomfortable. And I really do not recommend, if you do not need to get this procedure done, please don't. It's probably easier for other people that are not built with, you know, she showed me, the radiologist showed me a picture afterwards just to explain to me like what actually happened. And she showed me, you know, my system, right, the x-ray, and she was showing me how my vagina is actually not straight, like, which again, completely normal, but it doesn't just go straight, it kind of tilts to this side a little bit. And then my cervix is actually over here instead of being right at the tip. It's over here somewhere. And then my uterus is over here. So it's almost like a Z shape. And that was why they were having such a hard time, which again, completely normal. A lot of people are built this way. It's not something where they go, oh, that's it, that's what's wrong. No, it's very common, very normal. But between that and the fact that it was high and whatever else, they just weren't ready for it. So, learned something about myself today. And I can't imagine anything else being more painful than that, honestly. But life has a way of surprising you. So that's what happened today. Tomorrow I'm having I always say the veterinarians. The veterans are coming in the morning to pick up another set of donations. So I have to get those ready now. I hoped to have them ready yesterday so I wouldn't have to do anything physical today in case I was feeling worse than I am. But the funeral, you know, everything ran late, and so I just didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. So I have to put that together today. And also tomorrow we're back to therapy in person. So I have to get the house in order again as well. But I'll deal with that tomorrow. For right now, I am going to do the donation thing because they're coming first thing in the morning. And that's the update. That's what I've been up to. That's what's going on. Happy Tuesday. I just realized I hadn't played with Faye in a couple days, what with the funeral and my procedures and everything. And so I just went looking for him and he did not survive. So that's 2 gigapets down so far since Mother's Day. That's not bad. That's a pretty good track record, I think. They're each lasting about a month at a time. The first one did not survive my encounter with COVID, and this second one did not survive a very busy and very intense weekend. So all in all, I think I forgive myself. Uh-oh, what time is it? I have no idea. I think it's like 9 p.m. Let's just, oh no, what do I name him? You know what? I'm gonna come up with something now, but if you made it this far in the video, leave me a suggestion for the next time I have to name one of these guys. Oh, there's numbers too even. Okay, so there you go. I think this is a good name, considering what I've been through today. It's 5 letters, by the way. So leave me your best 5-letter names. Oh, 6 letters. Oh my goodness. I would have called him Uterus if I'd known. You know what? Uterock. Very cool. All right, so 6-letter names for my next dinosaur. Let me know. Let me know your suggestions. Hello friends, it's Wednesday morning. Still bleeding from yesterday, just in case you're curious. But I'm also still uncomfortable. I'm not in pain, but I'm uncomfortable. So again, just figured that was worth noting, and that's also completely to be expected. And I'm not bleeding an amount where I'm like concerned about loss of blood. So I'm assuming that this is all par for the course. If I'm still bleeding by tomorrow, then I'll ask the doctor what the hell. Actually, I need to call a doctor so that I can make that appointment for the follow-up. But anyway, it is Wednesday. We've got the one therapy scheduled today, which is the in-home therapy. And that just worked out perfectly because I'm hoping to try to take it as easy as possible today. Although I do have tons on my list, as usual. Actually, let me look at my list and see what all I have to do today. Make the appointment. I have to edit a video, wash the towels. I've already done that. I want to edit another video, and then basically just like have lunch and prepare the house for therapy. So bare minimum, really, because the recipe I'm recording is a recipe that I'm gonna eat for lunch anyway. So, but something that's kind of complicating my day is, you might recall, I'll post the video here, on the 4th of July, the bathroom flooded, and it flooded this entire like half of the house. But the bathroom door really got the brunt of it. It started to like split because, you know, the wood got wet, and so it started to expand and split and break up, and like we're having a hard time shutting the door properly. So my dad hired a guy to come replace the door. Like, we measured it because it's an irregular door. It's very tall but also kind of like slender compared to like the typical door. So the guy was meant to come this morning at 8 a.m. to change out the door, and I think they were going to paint it as well. It is 9:15 and he's not here yet. I woke up early so that I would be ready for the guy when he got here at 8, and he's not here. If he'd been here on time, he might have been done before my son woke up, but now my son is up and about in the house having breakfast, etc. So now I have to worry about my son masking up, and it's gonna be a whole other mess. And like I said, it's over an hour later and he's still not here. So potentially his work might end up like now infringing into the time I have set for doing all the things that I need to do today. Oh man. Okay, I'm getting really crampy now. All will be revealed, I guess. There's nothing else I can say about that until the guy actually shows up, or not. But I'm sure he will, because supposedly the reason he's late is because he's at the hardware store right now getting the door or whatever. So yeah, that's what's going on. I was expecting my husband to be here for this, and I think my dad was too, but he was like, I've missed way too much work in the last couple of weeks. I have to go to work. So I wasn't mentally prepared to deal with all this, on top of taking care of my son, on top of all the things I have to do today, on top of getting ready for therapy, etc., etc. But that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbled. So it is what it is. But I think I've pretty much caught y'all up. You know what I'm gonna do the rest of the day, assuming that the guy doesn't take up too much of my time whenever he does arrive. You know how I'm feeling from yesterday. Oh, I guess I should give you guys an update on the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe thing. We are currently watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a 6-part series. And it's kind of like tying up what happens with the Captain America storyline, because Falcon and Winter Soldier are both related to Captain America, so now they're kind of bringing them together. As my husband has put it multiple times, this is the most boring show on the planet. They picked the 2 most boring characters in the entire cinematic universe and are insisting on smashing them together, and it's just like boring squared. And I have to agree. I told y'all in the last video, I think, that we watched WandaVision, which was 9 episodes in the matter of one night. Because even though at first the show was like, what the hell are we watching? Wanda and Vision are both compelling characters. And so even though the plot was a little strange at first, we wanted to see it through and figure out what the hell is happening, because we like Wanda and Vision. We don't care what happens to Falcon or Winter Soldier. So even though there's only 6 episodes, it's taken us 4 nights to watch 2 episodes, because we just don't care, and we're like desperate to finish the last 4, because I know that it's going to have some bearing on future plots in like movies and stuff, so we don't want to skip it. But my gosh, it's like sludging through quicksand, this series. It's so intensely boring. Okay, now I feel like I've caught you all up. Happy Wednesday. Alright pals, it's Wednesday night, so let me give y'all the final update. I can't believe I actually remembered to do an outro on time for this episode. The gentleman for the door finally came a couple hours late. He didn't leave until past noon, but the bathroom door looks great. He painted it and everything before he left. So all's well that ends well, I guess. I got everything done today that I wanted to get done, so that's fantastic. I even got to do some more reading. Hubby and I just watched episodes 3 and 4, I asked him like, hey, when you have a minute, let's see if we can choke down another episode of this show, which he agreed was not my best, you know, attempt at selling it, but let's just call it what it is, right? And actually, it's getting better. It's about time because there's only 6 episodes. But it's getting better. Is it the best thing we've ever watched? Absolutely not by a long shot. But it's entertaining enough now where I am invested and I care what happens next. So that's an improvement. What else? What else is there to tell you guys about? Kiddo did okay with his first therapy in a week. He's doing a lot better about wearing the mask at home, thank goodness, because that was a really big issue at first. Now it just comes down to, I don't want to work with this person, which, again, it just is what it is, for now anyway. So she'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a very full day because the way things are working now is that I only have the weekly meeting that I used to have with the clinical director. I'm only having it now every other week, because the weeks that I don't have a one-on-one meeting with her through Zoom, she comes here and she overlaps with the therapist so that they can work on goals or whatever the case may be. So last week she came to the house. This week I'm having a meeting with her, which means tomorrow I've got 3 things scheduled. I have my meeting with her, I have a telehealth therapy, you know, with kiddo, and then we have in-person therapy. As such, tomorrow's going to be a pretty busy day because I'm also hoping to do all of my stickers for my August planner stuff tomorrow. That includes like picking the kits, doing the crop method on all of them, printing all of them, and then cutting all of them. So it takes a long time. But once I get into the flow of it, it becomes more like second nature type stuff. So that's why I prefer to do them all at once as opposed to doing them week to week. It ends up taking longer that way. So I'm sure there's other stuff on my list. I'm positive there is, but that's what's going on for now. For this weekend, I don't even know. I feel like July has just flown by because it's been one thing after the other. There's no immediate plans for this weekend, except that we're hoping to finally do the foggery of the house. We meant to do it a couple weeks ago and that didn't work out. And then we meant to do it this past weekend and that didn't work out. So hopefully this weekend is it, so we can finally get the spider situation under control. Speaking of Legarto, because we were worried that the baby iguana was going to be in here when we finally got around to doing the bug fume bomb thing. He was on my son's bed yesterday when we came in here to make his bed up for the night. He was just sitting on the bed, so we very easily just scooped him up, took him outside. He's safe now. I miss looking up at the curtain rod in the living room and seeing him there watching over the house, but I know that he's where he belongs, which is outside and no longer in danger of pesticide. So yeah, anyways, that's what's been going on for me this week. It's been a long one, it's been a weird one, but here we are. And I'd love to know what you guys are planning for the weekend, because you're going to watch this on Friday, or at least I'm putting it out on Friday. So let me know how your week was. Let me know what you're planning for the weekend. And as always, thank you guys so much for being here and watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click the notification bell, because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye.